Are you a woman who is struggling with subconscious blocks caused by past trauma? These hidden barriers can hold you back, preventing you from living your fullest life and achieving your goal. You might feel stuck in the cycle of self doubt, emotional numbness, and recurring negative thoughts. Despite trying various methods like self help books or therapy, you still find yourself unable to move forward. But what if there was a way to break through all this, right? The subconscious blocks and transform your pain into a source of strength and empowerment. Imagine reclaiming your power in a way that uplifts you rather than drain you. Let's think about that. Today, we're exploring the transformational topic of breaking through subconscious blocks caused by trauma. To help us dive into these, we are joined with Cheryl, a spiritual coach, master healer, speaker, and bestseller author. Cheryl has 30 years of experience in energy healing and extensive training in various healing methods. Okay, get ready. She will share powerful tips to help you heal from past trauma and move into a state of empowerment. Cheryl will cover topics such as understanding subconscious blocks, practical steps to overcome these barriers, and real life success stories on how she had transformed her life through energy healing. But before we dive into that, I want to introduce myself. For those who is new here, I am Rose Jones. I am your host here at a Sisters Love podcast, and I am just one woman with one voice trying to help other women heal. So if you are a woman on a healing journey looking for a safe place, resources, or to be surrounded with love and support, then you are in the right place. We'd love for you to be part of our sisterhood. So hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so that you never miss another episode of a Sisters Love podcast. Oh, and don't forget to join our Facebook group, Sister Let's Heal Together. It's a place where we go deeper into the conversations that we started here, share our stories, and get the support that we need to turn that pain into power. So, if you're ready to break through the subconscious blocks and turn your pain into power, stay with us. Cheryl's story is something that's truly inspiring and can help you unlock your greatest self.
Welcome to A Sister's Love, the podcast that helps women who are healing by having those deep conversations, giving practical advice and words of encouragement. Come on, let's talk about it.
This is our beautiful guest, Cheryl. Please tell the listeners a little bit more about your story and how we got here today and what makes you so powerful and your energy healing and what motivated you.
Well, I didn't realize early on. It was through my second business that I realized I am here to help empower women because I felt very powerless in my life. I was married to a covert narcissist husband. Back then, nobody knew what that was, or very few people. Narcissist was not a word that was used. And we were married for 13 years, and I just kept trying and trying and trying, like so many other women I've met. I'm going to make this better. And I wasn't able to. It was once I left that relationship, very soon after, I had a profound spiritual experience on the beach. And a friend of mine was doing kinesiology on me, and she was clearing some blocks. So I had opened up to this sort of thing and was very curious. Suddenly, I had the most profound experience. There was this ball of white light hovering above me, and it was the most love I had ever felt in my life. By far, it was such intense love. And I realized it was my deceased brother who had taken his life. And spiritual was not part of my world, meditation, none of that stuff at that time. She ended up channeling him, which she had never done before. Neither of us had ever had an experience like this. His message to me was to start meditating. And I didn't realize it was because I was suffering from severe depression, and it was the type of meditation I was doing that got me off the antidepressants. My doctor was very concerned. He said, "You're going to be on these for the rest of your life. You have severe meditation or severe depression." And in 3 months, I got off those antidepressants, and I thought I would rather have meditation as my medicine than those pills.
Definitely. I hate pills.
Yeah. And so that's what started me on this journey. I started to heal my subconscious blocks. I started to heal my early childhood traumas. I look back and I can see now that my father was a severe narcissist. And yet, to me, our culture, our society, globally, it's been the conditioning of men. Women have conditioned. This is the patriarchy, and the matriarchy goes way back, where it's the man that comes first. There, I've traveled the world. I've witnessed the pygmies in Africa, in Uganda, and in their culture, it blew my mind. It was a chilly day, and all the men get to wear coats. None of the women have coats. None of the children have coats. So all the men are there nice and warm with their coats on. And the women are in their shukas, in their dresses, saris, whatever you want to call it. And then the older children, they have shirts and pants, and toddlers and younger have nothing on. And it's cold out. That is the culture. I was in Africa for 5 months traveling, and it is so ingrained, especially with polygamy and that sort of thing. It's just the man that matters. But in our own culture, I remember being at a flea market years ago, and I picked up this home economics book and started flipping through it from the 1950s. And the instructions in there were, you want to be a good wife, you have a nice dress on for when your husband gets home, you have his newspaper ready for him, you make sure the children are quiet, and you have his slippers ready.
Oh,
And that was being taught at a grade 10 level. This is how you're going to be. So it's so ingrained in us. We not only have our own personal healing in our own families of origin, but it's a cultural wound. We need to heal all that. We have wounds from our early childhood, but it's because our parents were conditioned that way and were wounded. And I feel like it's my mission to help women take their power back and become equal, not better, but to become equals, that we are all equal, regardless of gender.
Oh, I totally agree with that. That is crazy. They were teaching that in school. And I'm trying to rack my mind about it. You mentioned we're supposed to be learning in school, and they're teaching them how to cater to their future husband in 10th grade. But yeah, I think because back then they got married early, right? Like they were marrying them off like 15, 16, right?
I don't think that was as common, maybe 18, 19.
18,
Even
19.
some people got married at 25, 30. Very few women worked. Oh, and it was also make sure your nails are done.
Yeah.
Make sure your nails are done. We're not washing dishes and changing diapers and rinsing out those poopy diapers in the toilet. I'm sorry, but that was like
I would have failed that course. But and just so much pressure and so much expectations on women that was unreasonable. The guy was just, it was just for them to show up, pretty much like work and just show up, right? That's pretty much was the goals. And because of that, some of those culture behaviors came into our generation and into our future, and it embedded into the men that's here, into the women that's here. And we learned to stick around and deal with things because subconsciously we think this is what we're supposed to do, right? Is that where we're navigating this too?
That's right. And it's the subliminal messages that I come second, not equal. We're not both first. We don't matter equally. And that's a key. It's women, so many women today, even in corporate America, even at high level, have the subconscious belief of I don't matter. I had a client, she works in corporate America, high level, makes a ton of money, very successful. But she watched a video I had left with a functional medicine doctor. I help a lot of people that aren't getting the health results, are doing everything. They have done everything, but they're not reaching their health goals. It's often because of emotional blocks, emotional wounding. So this woman, I was interviewed by a functional medicine doctor, and one of her clients watched it. And I said, these are the 4 core wounds that you want to explore in your subconscious. And one of them is, I don't matter. As soon as I said that, she burst into tears and she couldn't stop crying. And she thought, I have to meet this woman. Now she's living her life from a perspective of, I matter.
Mhm.
I matter. So she didn't know that existed. She's well into her 40s, very successful woman, but her relationship is absolutely not where it wanted to be. Even her relationship, she was seeing the effects on her children. Once she cleared all the blocks and other blocks, then her parenting skills changed and her children's behavior completely reversed. So they're now happy, healthy kids.
Totally agree. I kind of had that same kind of block too, because when I walked into motherhood, I just assumed that again, I come second. Like my kids come first, my household come first, the bills come first, everything goes come before me. And once all of that was done, then I get to have me time. If it was any time left over for me to have anything for me, you know what I'm saying? I used to give myself like the bare minimum. Now I designate time for me every week. Like it's one day during the week that I don't cook, I don't clean. I don't do anything. And like some things I do because some things is just inevitable. You're a mother. So even though you don't want to be on call, it's moments where you're going to be on call. It's some things that you can, it's out of your control, but it's still giving the majority of that day is designated towards me, like giving myself that time to be with me, reflect on me and just grow me and see what I really want to be and see if I'm where I'm at in life. I totally agree with that. That's a lot of blockages that a lot of women have and that we think that we're second, especially mothers or people in marriages and motherhood are those things that put us in second that we forget because we want to make sure those relationships are successful. And what we forget to realize for those relationships to be successful is for us to be successful.
That's right. That's right. We have to remember the men, the husbands, the fathers
Yeah.
have very similar conditioning to what we've had. Also, from the perspective of men have had the conditioning that boys don't cry, men don't cry. That's only new. It's one of the things I love about young men today. I have a grandchild and my son-in-law. Oh my gosh, he can talk about his emotions. He's an amazing father. Men are really changing. Women are trying to change along with them. It's seeing the dynamic and seeing that we all need to change and we all need to grow together and change all the old conditioning of the past. It no longer serves us.
I totally agree because especially with the men, like people don't know how to hold space for men because they feel like they're supposed to be tough and everything, and they don't have an opportunity to speak up or have an opportunity to be seen or heard. And like just like they have that subconscious block that they probably have the same block that I don't matter. My emotions don't matter. Like I have to provide. So even if I'm tired or if I'm not having a good day, I still have to get up and I have to provide. I don't get to have a wellness day. Men should have those self-care days and those me days just as well as women should too.
That's right. Absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah. Now, can we talk about what actually energy healing and what it consists of?
Well, there's many forms of energy healing, but I'll answer your question as best I can. And it's based in the scientific proof that we are all energetic. We are all energetic beings. And Kirlian photography has proven that we have light. There is light within us. Light is energy. When we flick on a light, Thomas Edison is the guy that brought in light in that way that it's energy moving. We are the same way. And so what happens is we are beings of energy, and all that energy needs to flow. We have thousands of energetic pathways. Thousands. I remember the first time I discovered this, I was at a workshop with Dr. Lee Poulos in Vancouver, Canada, almost 30 years ago. And he was teaching tapping, the EFT and TFT. And I was introduced to that very on. And I will never forget the slide that he presented in his talk, showing all these energetic pathways. So one of the pathways that we're very familiar with, a strong series of energetic pathways, are the Chinese meridians. And The meridians were discovered thousands of years ago by the Chinese. And another energetic system is a chakra system. I work with the chakra system. I also have worked with the Chinese meridians. I have a diploma in Chinese acupressure. So what happens, we come into the world and we're clear. You know how babies laugh and cry so easily? Their energy just flows. They breathe with their whole body. When you watch a baby breathe, the belly goes up and down. It's wow. They're so in the moment and their emotions flow. And so emotions are energy in motion. There is energy that wants to flow. When we're taught it's not okay to feel your emotions, or you're only okay to feel certain emotions, and we start stuffing them, that creates blocks. Or if we're taught that we're bad for feeling something, let alone expressing it, what happens, the energy can no longer flow. It's sort of like if you have an electrical wire and you break it, or you put something in there and the energy can't flow anymore, it's just not happening. It's just not happening. Also, you could think of it like a plumbing pipe. If you have a clog, the water is not going to flow. The energy that I work with, the energy healing that I do, is what I call my own Azarias energy healing program. I founded that a few years ago. And I start with, I can see the energy in people. So I can see where their blocks are. I can see all their light, how the energy is flowing well. So that's very helpful. You don't have to be able to do that, but it's discovering what those blocks are. They are long held, trapped emotions in the subconscious as early as in the womb. I have done so much healing. Fetuses feel. Fetuses will take on what the mother feels, even though they'll sense what the father is feeling. And children, toddlers will act out their parents' emotions. If we're angry and upset all the time, the child is not going to be a happy kid, usually. Toddlers will just reflect back to us what's going on. But if we're taught, if we're punished for feeling, it holds the energy in, and we develop these blocks, which create energetic patterns. Let's say you and I are out having coffee and you want to get going and you say, well, Cheryl, hurry up and finish your coffee. I need to go. And I say, well, just a minute. I thought we were coming for coffee. I need 10 more minutes. And I'm making this up. No, I want to go now because I want to go shopping. I want to get to the store. So I'm subconsciously feeling like I don't matter and what I want doesn't matter. I don't get what I want. I don't get what I want. So I may go with you, but I've just stuffed all my feelings. That started in early childhood when I'd be having breakfast and my mother, I'm making this up too, because my mother didn't do this, but I'd be having my breakfast and my mom says, you have to finish right now. We have to go. That mom hasn't provided enough time, or maybe the child's taking too long, whatever. But there's a consistent, so the pain I'm feeling has nothing to do with you. If I loved myself and honored myself, I would say, hey, my feelings matter too. How about if we compromise and you give me 5 more minutes to drink my coffee and then we'll go shopping? That would be a healthy response. But because I have this wound and this plays out everywhere in my life where I feel like I don't matter, but I keep stuffing it because I don't want to feel it. So what I do is I help people get into their subconscious, which is the right side of the brain. And so it's proven that trauma is imprinted in the right side of the brain. And it's imprinted not through linear memories. That doesn't happen, folks. If you're having a linear memory of something in the past and you think it's trauma, you are not in your subconscious. I would question it. Trauma is stored in physical sensations and emotions. The emotions hold true. So I help people teach them how to, and we're going to talk about this today, how to get into the subconscious, feel those emotions without having to relive the incident. There will be, without having to relive it. There may be flashes of memories. Any memories that are held in the subconscious are fragmented. There are only fragmented memories. So something may come up. And it has been proven that trauma, even sexual abuse, any kind of abuse, is not about so much about what happened. It's the lingering feeling of uncertainty about oneself and the world. The lingering feeling of uncertainty. And so I say that moves into a lack of feeling safe and stable in the world. It's more about that. Once we move those emotions, once we clear that energy of those stuck emotions, we turn around and we're different. We turn around and we're different. And those patterns start to unravel. And people come to me, you won't believe what I said to so-and-so today. You won't believe what happened. And they're in that place of that previous conditioning has moved. So I teach people how to do this for themselves so they can become their own energy workers. My goal in all the different ways that I teach, and especially with clients I work with, I only work with them for a short period of time. So they really learn what this is like and how to do it. Then it becomes a lifestyle so that we keep growing and growing and growing and becoming more of who we truly are. Because remember, I said we are made of light. And it's true. People say, I need to shine my light. You certainly do need to shine your light. And it's clearing out the darkness. It's clearing out those blocks. One of the main traumas that all my clients have comes from a place of emotional neglect. What is emotional neglect? Emotional neglect is when our emotions are not honored early on in life, when we don't have a resource of someone to always go to. I'm feeling this and that happened. I'm sad. Oh, I'm so mad at my friend. The troubles little kids have, parents often slough it off. They just slough it off. And that is trauma. It's that ongoing, and it's subtle. It's so hard to detect. It's hard to recognize. But all my clients later on discover this. If they haven't discovered it before, they discover it when we work together. So it's clearing those energetic blocks, the stuck energy of the emotions. You don't have to totally relive it. You may relive some portions, and often there's no memory. I don't know what this is about, but this is what I feel. Or I see someone in the room. I don't know what it's about, but this is what I feel. And the
So,
physical sensations.
yeah.
Physical
So
sensations.
in my mind, I was thinking like the goal to unblock the subconscious memory, the subconscious blocks to unlock the memory so that you can heal the memories. The goal here is not to unblock the memory, but to unblock this, to identify the sensation, as I'm saying.
It's identify the emotions and the physical sensations and unblock that.
Unblock that. So the memory does not have to be, you don't have to remember what happened to cause the block. You just need
Absolutely
to,
not necessary.
that's,
The
and you'll be
memory,
able
if you think of it this way, I'm so glad you're asking this, that you're making a point of this. I really
yeah,
appreciate this, Rose. You're really getting this. So if you think of it this way, the memory is the superficial layer. If we unblock just the memory and we haven't touched the physical sensations held in our body, that's the actual energy, and we haven't touched into the emotion, it's not true healing. That's why talk therapy often doesn't work. It works to a certain level. It's more superficial. It's
yeah.
much more superficial. It's not the deepest. I'm a person of, I believe, go all the way or go home. Like, let's go deep. I'm okay with intensity. And I've been able to hold anyone I've worked with through anything. I mean, the worst traumas you can't even imagine. And just to hold them through that, because the emotions are very intense. We weren't able to process those emotions early on, whether whatever happened was in childhood or even as an adult, a teenager, but being able to hold them. And we just need to feel it enough in a safe space. You're being held enough to break it open, to let it move, and then the energy can flow. It's sort of like a plumbing clog. If you have a long clogged pipe, let's say you move into an abandoned old building and you're renovating, and the plumber will stick the snake down. He just has to poke at it enough to loosen it up. We're loosening it up. We're breaking that wound apart. Then the water starts to flow. It goes. So we don't have to stay there long. It's not necessary. Actually, you don't want to stay there too long. You don't want to relive it because you'll often re-traumatize yourself.
I agree with that. Can you walk me through the process of how this will kind of work?
Yes. And so I call it my ACE method, how to break through subconscious blocks, gain clarity, and really step into your greatest self. So the number one thing we need to do is go inward because it's inside us. It's not outside us. You can do this through meditation, sitting up straight in a chair, not on the floor, folks. One of the reasons you don't want to sit on the floor cross-legged, I know it's wild. Can you imagine? The type of meditation, often when you sit on the floor cross-legged, it's usually for upward meditation where you leave your body. Sometimes it is going internally, but the reason you want to sit with your feet flat on the floor is for better grounding, connected to the earth. And listen to this word, accomplishment. I have been teaching meditation for decades, and I have had so many people come to me that sit cross-legged all the time, and they're not accomplishing what they want to in life. They're complaining, I want to do this, I'm not even working, I'm not making enough money. I've been wanting to do art for years and I'm not doing it. And I just say, well, stop sitting like that. Put your feet on the floor and you'll start accomplishing. And it's amazing the shifts that happen in people. So if you want to accomplish more in life, sit intentionally with your feet on the floor, set your goals, and you will have a much easier time of accomplishing. If you want to do your own healing and empowerment, sit with your feet on the floor in like a kitchen chair, a dining room chair, not on the couch where you're leaning back. You sit straight and close your eyes and go inward, and you can focus on your chakras, or you can just focus on your heart or inside your body. I like to focus on the root chakra, which is at the tip of the tailbone. Now, to get into your subconscious, what you want to do is breathe fully from the lower abdomen. That means you can put your hand, let's try it right now, Rose. Put your hand on your lower abdomen with your thumb at the level of your navel. I invite you to inhale, so you're just moving your belly. You're not breathing with your chest. No chest breathing here. You know, your chest can move a little, but you're inhaling, and you inhale to the count of 6 or even 8 seconds. Exhale to the count of 6 or 8 seconds.
Both out your nose or out nose mouth?
Oh, very good question. Nose, 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 nose. I actually just finished reading a book called Breath by Nestor. Nestor is his name. I can't remember the other part of his name. And there is all this science around the health effects that are caused by mouth breathing. So nose breathing.
I try not to do mouth breathing anyways, but some people do. I see a lot of meditation that you do in nose, out mouth, but I mostly do only nose, but it depends. That's why I just ask.
Yeah. And there are meditations where you might, so I've done different types of meditation where it's in nose, out mouth. And that is often what it does is it relaxes us, and you can do a long exhale out loud or silently. There's variations. I've studied a lot of breath work, even
the sounds like the hum and the sigh, that vibration is kind of healing. I guess that's what they say. Like the when you breathe out. You learn that in tap. I did that at the tapping.
Yeah. You might be interested in reading James Nestor, his book on breath. It's an amazing book on breath. So anyway, for all intents purposes, nose breathing only if you can. You inhale to the count of 6 or 8 seconds, no chest, no moving the shoulders yet, all down in the belly. Let your shoulders relax and keep it in your belly. That's it. You got it. You got it. And whoever's listening, I invite you to come along with us. Let's breathe like this. So what's happening when we do this? We're changing our brain function. When you and I were talking and we're breathing normally, the brain function is at the back of the brain, the medulla oblongata. As soon as we engage those abdominal muscles in the lower abdomen to breathe, that changes the breathing function to the frontal lobal brain. So we're over here now with the breath. And what it does, it frees up the medulla oblongata, which gives us access to the right brain, gives us access to the subconscious. So this work that we do, the full breath, is most important. What will often happen is we may get a fragmented memory, and what happens is we stop breathing this way, and then we jump over into our left brain, and then we start trying to remember the whole thing and doing this play, and then that's not healing, folks. So if ever that happens, stop. So I'll often say to my clients when I'm doing a session with them, oh, I think you're jumping into your left brain. Let's go back to the emotion. What's the emotion in the memory? How did you feel? Are you noticing any physical sensations in your body? So it's that full breath and with an intention. What do you want to get out of this? How do you want to feel? Where do you want to be? What do you want to happen? Intention, as I'm sure, Rose, is so important. Why are you doing this? What do you want to accomplish? That's accessing. What'll happen is you want to see what emotion is in there and then do what I call follow the emotional thread. So you want to go deeper into it, feel into one emotion. Anger is classic. We feel anger, and anger is really like a lid. It's a lid on other emotions. So you always want to let yourself feel the anger fully, drop down deeper, and there will be other emotions underneath. Yeah. Sadness is often under anger. We feel anger because it's too hard to feel our sadness.
Because anger is a masking. It's like a masking emotion.
Yes.
It's not like a core emotion, right? We have core emotions, and then we have emotions that mask them so that it looks like something that is not, because we don't know how to articulate that original emotion.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great way to say it. It masks, it hides it. Like I said, it's a lid. When I say the lid, if you think of it, you're going deeper down this way. If you're thinking of it like a mask, you're going through the mask or you're going around the mask into what else is in there. And you follow what I call the emotional thread. So asking yourself, what else wants to be felt? What else is hard to feel that I need to feel? You follow the emotions. Then during this time of accessing, you also want to feel your physical sensations. Let's say you're focusing on your root chakra, for example, and all of a sudden you're getting all this pain or the tingling in your shoulder. Over in your shoulder or both shoulders, or even on your face, your arm, anywhere else. You say, whoa, I'm getting this pain, or I'm getting this intense tingling, or heat, or cold, or pulsing. It can be a multitude of sensations. Notice it, but don't put 100% of your focus. Keep your eyes in the energy center that you're working in. And the reason for that is because, to me, wounds are like a dandelion. So if you think of a dandelion, it has the flower on top, or the flowers, stem, and then it has the root and the leaves. So when we're in the root chakra, or any of the chakras, we're going deeper, we're going into the root. As soon as we're in the subconscious, it's below the level of the earth. It can't be seen. We're going into the root. Everybody knows how hard it is to pull a dandelion out. You have to dig. That root is deep. So you're going down, down, down. You think of the root as the emotional thread. What is the deepest emotion? Once you find the emotions, the more advanced level is to find the subconscious beliefs, but you're going deeper, deeper, deeper. So back to the flower, when you feel the sensation in your shoulders, what that is, that's the flower. The sensation is the flower, but it's not the wound. It's a part of it. It's where it's showing in the body. You can even think of chronic illness, people who have chronic pain. I haven't, I'm going to be 63. I haven't had pain, physical pain, in over 25 years. I have no pain in my body, zero, ever, because I do this work. So the wounds don't get a chance to get to the level of pain. Physical pain, there's an emotional wound when we have chronic pain or illness, anything like that. That's the flower on the dandelion. We notice, oh, I'm feeling this pain, and trust that it'll subside. Once we pull the root out, that flower can't survive. So it's staying there, staying focused and going into it. It's a matter of breathing through it, breathing through the emotions until they're not so intense. We keep going until we find the deepest one is ideal, but you may notice it starts out at like a 5 and it increases to like an 8, 10 being the most intense, and it keeps going, but as you breathe through it, it starts to reduce. So then you can either go and see if there's a deeper emotion, something else, or you can allow that to, once you move through, you can stay with it. But what I've discovered is you feel it enough that the energy starts to move and your body starts to calm down and it becomes less intense. And then clearing it is allowing that energy to flow. So you want whatever emotions in there, you just feel them, breathe through them. Don't worry so much about the memories. The memory might point to a subconscious belief or another emotion, and that's where you focus. That's access clear is by feeling through it, honoring whatever is in there, staying with it, and stay with the full breath. The minute you stop the full breath, it's not working. So keep reminding yourself to breathe fully. E is for empowerment. And that's the really good part. The earlier you go back into your early childhood, the more empowered you're going to be in this life. When you follow the emotions in the clearing, you can also go back to ask yourself the question, when did this start? And I'll be offering more information on this.
Yeah.
We get to the empowerment phase, and this is where we reprogram the subconscious. So now we've created the space, we've pulled the dandelion out, we've pulled a bunch of dandelions out, and now we want to reprogram. We've got empty space. Let's not let it fill in with more wounds. We want to reprogram more light and more empowerment. The first thing to do is to acknowledge that there was a wound there and that you didn't deserve it. Disarming your younger self, or whatever age that you went back to that you felt this, disarming. And I always like to say 3 things. You didn't deserve it. It wasn't your fault. You did nothing wrong. The people around you were wounded. That was their best, unfortunately. That was their absolute best. You didn't deserve it. You did nothing wrong. Then you connect with your younger self and reparent that younger self. You tell them how much you love them, and you tell them everything that they need to hear, everything that they need to understand. The next part in the empowerment phase is you switch. You imagine yourself becoming your little girl self or your little baby self as early as fetus self, and you receive all the words from your adult self. You receive all that love and caring, and you bring it into your little self root chakra, and then you let it fill up your whole body. You let it fill up your whole body so you're different. It's reprogramming your early childhood as if it was different. It changes your life in the present. Then you can tune into, how do you feel now? You ask your little self as the little self, how do I feel? Oh, I feel happy. I feel joyful. Your new subconscious beliefs, and you breathe into those new emotions. Those new emotions. I feel lovable and loved. I feel like I really matter. I matter so much. Whatever it is, you keep breathing into that using the full breath. So we're doing the reprogramming phase. And then that would be your homework for the next week or two, that every day you go back and you keep the reprogramming going. You keep that breathing fully, and all of a sudden, the people around you start to change. Life begins to change around you because you're different.
Because I was gonna ask that, because I know I've tried to do like that kind of reprogramming thing, but it's still like a block where I don't believe it. It's hard. What happens when people hit that block where, yes, I'm saying it, but I don't believe what I'm saying, or it doesn't feel genuine when you're saying it. So how do people overcome that part of the process?
Okay, this is such a great question, Rose. Such a great question. When you're reprogramming, where is your phrase coming from? It's coming from your left brain.
Yeah.
From your mind. You read it in a book, you attended a training seminar, and someone else said, reprogram yourself with this. It
Yes.
didn't come from you. When you're in the empowerment phase and you're your younger self, or whatever self was wounded, and you now have all this loving energy, the phrase comes from you. You are experiencing it. It is your core belief. It is,
Okay.
it's coming from you. So I don't ever give anybody anything to say. I don't give anybody any affirmations. No,
Okay.
I help them. I would help you access your own truest affirmations. Some of them, many of them are often surprising. Many of them are often surprising. Oh, I feel beautiful. Wow. The left brain says, how can that be? Why? I don't understand that. But And I feel beautiful. I'm so beautiful. And, or whatever the thing is. So we're not coming at it from the left brain. We're coming at it from the right brain. And that changes everything.
Makes sense. So it's more about you listening to yourself and you tapping into the things that you always wanted to say about yourself, but you never had the courage. And then space that gives you an opportunity to say those things that your child was silenced with. Like it silenced them. I was silenced as a child saying, "Oh, I think I'm beautiful," and when someone told me that I wasn't, and that wasn't beautiful, overshadowed the thought that I was. And now you get to take that other belief away and then just really continue where you left off at, pretty much, right? It's much kind of like
Yes.
the process.
Yes. And the key is that you're in your subconscious. So you think of it, I think of it sort of like an adventure. It's true self discovery. Your left brain doesn't know. You discover something new, something else that's been hidden. So that true emotion, the true subconscious belief at the deepest level is discovered and comes through and then fills up that space. It couldn't take up the space because it was shoved down, but it was always in there. It's discovering your true nature.
So once you discover it and it becomes belief, it does move over to the left brain, right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
It comes automatic in the left brain.
Okay.
You're part of everything.
All right. That's awesome because I was like, hold on, we're doing all this work and staying over here. I need that to come over.
Yes.
I needed this shift over here so it can become part of my new life, my new process, my new automatic, because I knew autopilot. So we get to transform our autopilot into something that's more empowering and more healing and more getting us into our emotions and letting us acknowledge our true self and giving our childhood self that freedom to be free and to actually grow up. Because I think that's the biggest issue that people that experience trauma, that child never grows up. And that's why you see sometimes we have grown-ups that's having tantrums or they're talking like a 5 or 6 year old and doing things that doesn't make sense. Like, hold on, you're 36 and how are you talking to me like a 7 or 8 year old? And me, I learned that the age that you traumatize her is the age that you get stagnant at. So even though I'm 36, right, 37 right now, if I was traumatized at 7, it will be parts of me in the area that I was traumatized that would still act as a 7 year old because that 7 year old never had safety and never had an opportunity to express or be free or to be open about what happened to them. As that event keep reoccurring in their life, they're going to keep addressing it as a 7 year old.
That's right. That's right. And I think one of the key things that you said, part of me. So we have all these different parts.
Yeah.
In one situation, you're 37. In another situation, you're 7. In another situation, you're 5. I would like to add to that one of the indicators, you can start paying attention to how people breathe and look at where you breathe. And I was taught years ago. So remember I said at the beginning, how a baby breathes with their whole body, their belly expanding, the whole body's breathing. The more trauma we have earlier on, the more shallow the breath is. So if you see people that are breathing up way up here, their chest is hardly moving, the belly's not moving at all, that's really early trauma. That's very early trauma. And the more shallow the breath, the more traumatized. And I'm going to go back to James Nestor's book, and it talks about how these energy systems are held in the body, these traumas and all of this. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, get your body breathing again, engage your belly, just doing that. Now, you don't need to breathe like that all day long. Just in your meditations, but pay attention to your breath and just practice breathing and nose breathing.
That is so awesome. Now, as we come to the end of this podcast episode, I would love for you to give the listeners some advice that you think they should really have for them on this process and transitioning into like energy healing so that they can really use this to actually block those subconscious blocks and get into the actual real healing and that emotional healing instead of this superficial healing. Because that's what most people do. We stay on the top layer and then we don't understand why it's not working. It was like always have something to blame, but now we can have that answer and we can go a little bit deeper and we can actually identify and start that true healing. So is it any advice that you would like to give the listeners that can really help them tap into this and really get started on the right path?
Okay, yes. Thank you, Rose. The advice that I have is that you need a reason to do this work. You need a reason, and I'm going to give you a reason. This is what I believe about you. You are all powerful beyond belief, more powerful than you can currently imagine, more powerful than you cannot. You can set 150,000 goals, and none of those will match your actual capacity. And so I never thought I would be here calling myself a spiritual coach, a master healer, a spiritual teacher. No, no, no. I could not imagine this. And we often will resist our greatness. It's a wound. That's what your soul signed up for. So know that all your wounds serve you. Every single one of them, your soul signed up for. Your soul chose the parents that you were born into. If you just remember that you are more powerful, what's ahead of you if you do this work is something that you can't currently imagine. Treat it like an adventure. Every worthwhile adventure has lumps and bumps. I've traveled the world. I have been robbed. I'm telling you, I've been in some very hairy situations. It's all an adventure and it's worthwhile because you matter. You're worthwhile. And what your soul signed up for to come here and be and do is totally worth it.
Oh, that's totally agree. Because I agree with you. Like sitting here today, like I am not, it's like you said, it's adventure. I'm choosing to go on this adventure because I feel like I shouldn't be here on this podcast today. I shouldn't be here talking. I shouldn't be here from what I've been through. Like my wounds told me that I shouldn't be seen. My wounds told me that my voice doesn't matter. My wounds told me that I'm not where I need to be doing what I'm doing, but I'm decided to move forward anyways because I'm trying to live beyond those and move beyond what those traumas and wounds are telling me. So I totally agree. Just like literally just tapping into understanding that you are worth more. Life is more than what your trauma is telling you, because we are living in a filter trauma. We live in a filter world when you experience trauma, we live through the filter of trauma. So everything is danger, everything is scary, everything is uncertain. So it holds us back and it keeps us locked into unsafe safety version of safety, if that makes sense. I don't even know if I said that right, but like a distorted version of safety where we think that we're safe because we're not venturing outside of ourselves, but we're only safe because we're deciding not to do nothing. If we sit on the couch, eventually nothing's going to happen. And that's exactly what we're doing. It's time to just, like you said, put your feet on the ground and just move forward. So I totally agree with that statement. It's so inspiring because I'm going to keep moving forward in life to my best of my abilities. I'm going to try that energy healing stuff too. I'm going to really try the meditation because I want to go deeper. I tap into my emotions, but not like that. I understand the process. Another thing before we end, I want to like, we all like to get stuck in the cycle of knowledge and information and never applying it. That's where I got stuck into a lot, like collecting a lot of information and collecting a lot of resources, but not actually applying the resources that we collect and the information that we have. Now it's time to actually apply the information, the things that we have for the healing to actually happen.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So as we end this episode, can you please tell the listeners a little where to find you on social media and anything that you have going on that you will love for them to tap into so that they can continue their journey with you?
Yes, you can find me, Cheryl Stelte. Just enter me, Cheryl Stelte. My spiritual school is starofdivinelight.com. There will be a link in the show notes for the ACE method. So what I talked about today, ACE, how to use that. It's a wonderful ebook. I have a couple other books, Heal Your Neck Issues and Let Your Throat Chakra Shine. as well as my client magnet, if you're in business, how to attract ideal clients with spiritual awareness. So, what I'm really excited to share with you is my brand new pop-up podcast, which is a 3-part series. And if you enjoyed what we talked about today, Rose and I, this goes into more detail on how to do your own healing and empowerment, how to really become your own energy worker. You can become your most powerful self, the powerful self you can't currently imagine.
Well, thank you again for being a guest here and giving all this beautiful and information that will help someone heal on their journey. I truly appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Rose, to be a part of your Sister Love podcast and your journey in life. I admire you. Like I said before we even came on, I love what you're doing. And thank you ever so much. It truly is an honor for me.
Are you feeling isolated, weighed down by past trauma and challenges? Do you struggle with feeling stuck, powerless, and yearning for a place where you can truly be yourself without the fear of judgment? Imagine if you could transform your pain into a powerful source of strength and empowerment. Picture a life where each day you feel more confident, more in control, and deeply connected to a supportive sisterhood that understands and uplifts you. I invite you to join our Facebook group, Sister, Let's Heal Together. It's a safe place where you can share your story, be truly heard, loved on, and understood. It's a judge-free zone where you find the support and understanding you need. If you're ready to take the next step in your healing journey, click the link in the show notes to join Sister Let's Heal Together. Become a part of a sisterhood that supports and empowers each other every day. We cannot wait to welcome you and hear your story. Signing out, your sister through love. Bye.